So you're welcome to the Let's Talk Tech podcast. This is our second episode, and today we are talking about an app that if you have ever had an interest in speaking a second language or speaking any other language apart from your language, you must have heard about this app. It has been around for a very long time and used by millions of people. And today I have with me on our podcast somebody who has how many thousands of days now?
I'm not
Streak.
sure I can remember, but it's over 1,500.
Wow, over 1,500 days. I don't know if my maths is right, but that's like 3 years or four,
Yeah,
365
over
days,
4 years.
over 4 years streak, unbroken streak. Like this is like having a Duolingo superpower. You've been every day on the app. You don't miss any day
Sure.
for 1,500 plus days.
Yeah.
So Duolingo, if you're watching this, if you somehow you come across this video, you actually have an ambassador in Nigeria that you should be paying for being ambassador of Duolingo. So,
I'm not sure about that too.
so I have here with me Mr. Charles Nwaeke, and thank you for doing us the honor to be here today out of your busy schedule. So I just have some quick questions, for people who don't know about Duolingo. Can you just introduce what Duolingo is to them?
Okay. It's an app. It's available on iPhone, on iOS and Android, and also available on the web for learning languages.
For learning
So,
languages.
yeah.
Okay.
So it gamifies the learning method. It has a way of giving you points for achieving the set milestones. It first introduces you to every topic, and then afterwards you practice. And then it has a lot of emphasis on practice. So,
Practice. So
yes,
they've gamified the whole learning experience
yes,
for other languages. So you can learn as many languages as you wish,
sure. Yeah.
except probably the language where you are. Like if you're in Nigeria, for example, can you learn English on Duolingo too?
Before you start learning, you have to choose your native language or
Okay.
the language that the lessons will be based on.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you want to teach someone English, a
Mhm.
new person, a Yoruba person,
Mhm.
you may have to start teaching him the English with Yoruba.
Definitely.
You
So a
know. So you
baseline.
choose your own language first. That I'm an English speaker and I want to learn Spanish.
Mhm.
I'm an English speaker and I want to learn French.
Okay.
So that's how you start.
Awesome. So how many languages have you been learning on the platform so far?
Okay. Majorly 3 languages.
Okay.
So the first one is German.
German.
The second is French, and the last one is Spanish. But I have hopes of adding more.
So what's the motivating factor? Why would somebody want to learn three or even more foreign languages?
Okay, as a child, when watching movies, maybe a French movie, sometimes I hoped that I would be able to watch this movie without using subtitles.
Okay.
But I think the major thing that made me start is in my secondary school, we were taught German in the secondary school I went to. So,
That's in Nigeria, German. In
sure,
Nigeria.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
Awesome.
so when I grew up, I realized that sometimes I remember bits and pieces of the German I learned in secondary school and some of the French, and I hoped that I would improve. So I looked online at the time. I think that was 2013, and then I found Duolingo. So since then, at the onset, I just dabbled in it. I wasn't so involved. Then I was in school, so there wasn't so much time to dedicate to learning a language. So, but as time progressed, um, I became more active in it,
Okay.
and it gives me joy when I'm when I'm watching a movie and they speak Spanish, French, or German, and I'm able to understand without using a subtitle.
Okay.
Um,
So from what you've said now, the passion to learn these languages, it wasn't like you were pursuing a professional thing or you wanted to japa. That was why you were learning. You just had that passion of other languages, of you're hearing a language and you want to be able to follow through to say, okay, you understand this language. Maybe you're watching a movie and something like that. Yeah, it was more of a personal development, something, not professional
yeah,
or academic
it's
pursuit.
personal. I would say it's my hobby. Learning
Okay.
languages. It's much of a hobby.
Okay. So to the question of the day, right? The question of this episode is: can Duolingo actually really, really help anyone out there to learn a language? Let's just start from one language. Just learn another language. Is it something that is feasible from your years of consistency? Because this is consistency on the app. Is it something that is really honestly possible? Just Duolingo, not mixing it up with any other thing. Just Duolingo.
I think Duolingo will take you a long way,
Okay.
but it will not take you all the way. I don't think you can learn a language and speak it fluently with just Duolingo.
Hmm.
You need to have people you practice with. So a language has four aspects. There is the listening, which is the first um,
Okay.
introduction to the language. You listen to it.
Listening. Okay.
Um, then the writing part,
Writing. Listening. Writing. Okay.
then reading, and then speaking.
Listening. Um, writing, reading, and speaking.
Yes.
Okay, four paradigms of learning a language, or dimensions of learning a language, I guess you can
Yeah.
call it that way.
Okay.
Okay, so can Duolingo help you tackle these four aspects,
Yes.
even the writing aspect?
Well, you are typing, so you're writing.
Okay,
I've had a bit of Chinese Duolingo. Yeah, it allows you to write.
okay,
Yeah, you can actually practice writing the characters. It's not the Latin
mm-hmm.
method.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very different set of characters. So it allows you to practice the writing part too.
Okay,
So, but the reason why I said Duolingo will not take you all the way is that for you to actually practice a language and speak and understand it fluently, you need to have conversations with native speakers of that language.
hmm. Hmm.
So,
With native speakers, not just an application, not an algorithm. You need to have
yeah,
one-on-one conversation with
everyday
people
conversation.
who speak that language on a daily basis.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily native speakers, but people that, for example, your the foreign language you're very familiar with is English.
Yeah.
You're not a native English speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that.
Yeah, but I was able to, over my years of schooling and everything growing up, I was able to constantly be in communication
Good,
with that
good, good.
language.
So that's what will get you the rest of the way. So Duolingo takes you a long way, say 70%, and then actual conversations with people gets you the rest of the way. So my moment of when I would say that I realized that Duolingo was actually working was when I met some Dominicans.
Hmm.
So they speak Spanish, and
Okay.
I was surprised I was able to converse with these people. And then I realized that what I've been doing was it's not a waste. It actually it's worth something.
So, okay. Yeah. Sorry, for the purpose of clarity, Dominicans are people from
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic, and they
Yes.
speak Spanish.
Yes.
So you met them, and you were able to have normal conversation with
Yes.
them.
Yes.
They understood you clearly.
Yes.
And this was like after how many years of learning on the Duolingo app, of learning Spanish on the Duolingo app?
At the onset, it wasn't very consistent.
Mhm.
But I think it was 2 years after I was consistent with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what you're saying now is, as somebody who has never stepped, have you ever been to Spain
No.
or any other Spanish speaking?
No.
So you're saying that as somebody who has never been to Spain now, any other Spanish speaking countries, if somebody texts you now, kidnaps you, God forbid, no, let's say just texts you and goes to Spain and drops you there in a place where nobody speaks English,
Yeah, I'll be able to.
you'll be able to
way,
find your way.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. That means 70% is a good score. That means the app actually does work if you're consistent with it.
Yes. Another thing I do is I watch movies.
Okay.
So sometimes a movie that I've already seen in English, I may look for the French audio version of the movie, or the German audio version of the movie, or the Spanish audio version of the movie. And then I watch it without subtitle.
Awesome.
So it forces you to actually listen. It forces you to actually listen. In Duolingo, you're able to slow down the audio. The turtle.
Yeah. You get it to speak slowly, so you get to get what
you don't have that kind of, you don't have that leisure with movies. They speak at the natural pace. So I think that's what will help you. If you're not able to find the native speaker of that language, you're not able to use it every day. I think movies is the next. Watching movies, you must have watched the movie in English, so you understand what happens, the plot or the story in the movie, and then you watch it in the foreign language that you're interested in.
Awesome. What about books? Do you add books to your?
Yeah, but not as much as movies.
Okay.
Yeah. Movies is the easiest. It's the easiest approach compared to books. Books are also great. I have books in German right now. I have German books. Yeah.
Okay, so personally, I've always considered German to be kind of hard to learn. I kind of place German the same place I place like Chinese language.
No, it's definitely not the same.
So which one do you think is harder? Is German? A lot of people feel Germany is harsh. Sounds harsh to the ear.
Yeah.
So is it that easy learning German like it is to learn French, or do you think all languages have the same difficulty of learning, or some are more difficult than others?
I think it depends on the learner. It depends on you.
Okay.
You said German is the toughest for you. It may not be the case for someone else. For me, I find French to be the most difficult.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Spanish is the simplest for me.
Okay.
Then followed by German, and then French. So it depends on the person learning. It depends on your preference, what you have an ear for.
Okay.
Because I find it difficult there are some sounds in French that you cannot get with the English tongue. It will be difficult for you to make such sounds.
Okay.
As mainly an English speaker. But it's not the same in German or Spanish.
Okay.
It's easier to go into German with your English accent. Yeah. Sure, you need to bend your tongue a bit, but not as much as with French, at least from my perspective.
Okay. So from what you've said so far about Duolingo, would you advise someone to subscribe to the application and actually use it as their major application for learning a foreign language?
There are so many options.
Okay.
When you want to learn a language, it all depends on your preference. There are other apps for learning languages. I can think of 3 right now.
Okay.
So it depends on what you like. It depends on your preference, but it's worth trying Duolingo. Um, their approach is very simple and not intimidating for someone that is very new to a new language.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Sorry, I have one or two more questions because our time is almost up.
Okay.
So, do you have any criticism towards the method of learning language on Duolingo app? Is there anything that you think is something that can be improved upon? If you were to recreate that app, and do you think there is a better way? Is there something they could do to actually probably improve how people learn the languages? Or is there anything that comes to your mind in this moment?
Right now, I can't think of any.
Okay, so that
But
means they've done a good job.
yes, they've done. Yeah, sure. Maybe there should be a forum.
A forum.
Yes, I think in the beginning there was something like that, but I don't know um, if it's still that way, where you are
Okay.
able to interact with other people that speak the same language. Probably make friends from there. I don't think such an option is available.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I think I've thought about that too. Like you can follow people, true,
sure.
but
Yeah,
you can't really message them.
yeah,
You can't message them. I think it was there previously.
I think so too. But maybe they must know some things that we don't know. Why
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't want to promote such.
Mm. And then once
Things
you,
like this can be abused.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
who knows?
And once you've changed your, I think the one I noticed the other time, I don't know whether it's still there. Once you've changed you only have one chance to change your avatar. Once you've done it, you can't change it
I don't think
anymore.
I've changed my avatar. I think it's just there.
Okay, I switched mine from my photo to an AI generated something, and after that I was unable to go back. Okay,
Oh, okay.
so the other you said you can think about like three other language learning platforms or mobile applications. So
Mhm.
what's I know I don't think you have streak this kind of long streak with others,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what sets Duolingo apart for you?
Simplicity.
Simplicity of
Yes.
okay, okay, okay. What do you think are some limitations that users could encounter trying to stay consistent on the app? Are there some things that could make people not stay consistent?
For me, there is not much that would um, discourage you from being consistent because Duolingo, one lesson is barely 2 or 3 minutes.
Hmm.
It's something you can do while waiting for, let's say you want to microwave your food. While it's in the oven, you can just pull out your phone and do one lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, um, while waiting at the restaurant. There are so many.
Waiting for your boss
You
while
can
in the
just,
bus going
yeah,
from one place to
yes,
another.
yes,
Nice. So the barrier to having a long streak is almost non-existent. It's just a thing of discipline, right? Or a
yeah,
thing of, and they actually send reminders. They are very good at sending reminders
yes,
all the time.
yes,
Okay. Please note that this podcast is not sponsored by Duolingo.
yes.
So this is just two guys discussing about their experience about a mobile application that they believe is useful. So second to the last question, can Duolingo replace traditional language tutors, or has it already replaced traditional
Hmm.
from your own perspective?
I have not thought about it that way, but personally, I've not had a language tutor,
Hmm.
so it's all my progress has been strictly on Duolingo.
Wow. And you've been able to achieve
Conversational, yeah, conversational
conversational
levels,
levels of speaking Spanish,
Spanish, German,
German,
and French.
and French,
Yeah.
and now even hoping to delve into Mandarin. Is it
Yes.
Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
That's the Chinese language.
Yes.
Awesome. So, all ye language tutors out there, beware. this is not even AI. This is not even AI taking your job, because Duolingo has been around since before
Yeah.
the whole AI craze, right?
I started 2013,
Or
so
2013. So by then, we've
that's
not
over 10 years.
nobody has been talking about AI. So this is not even about AI, and they are integrating. I believe they are integrating AI into their app now.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so imagine the power of that whole power that's been able to make Charles Nwaeke here, speak conversational level Spanish, German, and remind me again, Spanish, German,
And French.
and French. Well, if they now add AI power, tutors out there
I'm not sure of what AI is going to.
to
AI is not
do.
going to help you practice.
Okay.
Duolingo makes you go over something over and over and over again.
Mm,
Repetition.
mm.
Yeah. AI is not going to make you. I don't see how AI would be
Will be
better.
integrated to make
I
it
don't know.
better.
Yeah, I don't know the implementation.
Mm.
But I think
Well, we live to see. After all, I didn't, just a few months ago, I didn't know how AI could be useful in WhatsApp until they integrated it into WhatsApp. And now it's very difficult for me to, I hardly visit ChatGPT, because most things I want to ask, I just normally just go on my WhatsApp Meta AI and just type it in there. And that they were able to integrate AI into WhatsApp, which is a chatting app, which normally you wouldn't even think that,
yeah,
you need AI
I
in
get
there.
your point.
So,
Maybe them including the way I spoke to you about having a native speaker.
yeah.
Maybe you can have an AI friend.
Mhm.
They come up with
Awesome.
that
Awesome.
you can speak with.
Duolingo, we are giving you ideas. So,
That's if they've not already come up with that.
yeah.
Maybe it's in the pipeline.
Yeah, that would be a great stuff, right? Because if I have AI there that acts like a friend or a native speaker of that language,
Yeah.
I can actually have to and fro conversation, right? Like back and forth conversation over and over and over again. In the morning, probably I just open the app, it greets me, and I respond, and all those things. I think it would be great. I think it's a great idea, and if it's not in the pipeline, if hopefully they get to see this, they should really consider that. I think it's something to consider. So, what the last question now, I believe, before we leave, is, we all the Duolingo. I think one of the would I say limitations for me is that you can only learn all these big foreign languages. For we in Nigeria, if you are a foreigner that wants to learn Igbo, for example, or Hausa or Yoruba, you can't learn that on Duolingo. At least I've not seen such on the app. So, do you think it would be a nice idea for them to integrate more local languages for international audiences to learn from us too, or are they good that way?
Um, Earlier, when Google Translate came up,
Mm.
I don't think Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba were one of the languages you could translate on Google Translate. But at some point, it got added.
Yeah.
Even though you cannot get, even though it's not as um, improved as other more prominent languages, but
Mhm.
it is there. You can get basic translation of our local languages, our major local languages.
Mm.
So I think it's possible in the future. Who knows? So Duolingo probably looks at the languages that a large amount of people would benefit from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe they don't see some native African languages as a big enough. They may not generate enough interest like the
Mm.
more established or more
Mm.
popular languages of the world.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's possible in
Mm. And,
time.
and and of course, training, having the algorithm and the system to actually teach that is a whole lot of investment if it's not something that is very much in demand.
Yeah,
Actually, there are a lot of apps that you can actually learn Yoruba,
yeah,
Igbo,
yeah.
and Hausa languages, and not even other languages that are on the Play Store. So there are people I'm glad that there are still people who are filling in those gaps.
Niches.
There's one I know that is popular that is known as Bluebird. So they have Hausa, they have Yoruba, they have Igbo versions that you can actually learn from. So it's great. So finally, when is this streak going to end? What's the plan? What's the goal? Which are you planning to take this till on your dying bed? You do your final streak and probably post it to the world and say, "I've been 70 something years or 50 something years on this app." Is that the goal?
I don't think I've thought that far. It's not a big deal. Like I said, it's a hobby.
Hmm.
People scroll Instagram
Yeah.
or TikTok
Mhm.
for minutes or hours in a day. Why not use the same time to learn something more productive? I'm
Hmm.
not saying scrolling TikTok and
It's an abomination. Yeah.
so maybe if you take out 15 minutes of your day
Hmm.
and get on Duolingo,
Hmm.
I think it has its own benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And now that you
I'll continue going as long as I can.
Yeah, now that you mentioned 15 minutes, right? There is even a very good something that came to my mind now. On an average,
Mhm.
on a daily basis,
Yeah,
normally you can use 2-3 minutes to do a
do a lesson.
lesson, but like sometimes, some days, I don't remember it till maybe it's around 11 p.m. or 11:30 p.m. when the day is almost over and I'm about to lose my streak. I'll now just open the app, try and, even though I have sleep in my eyes, I'll just try and do that 2 minutes or 3 minutes and make sure that I get that day. But for somebody who has been able to achieve conversational level of these things, how many minutes a day would you say it's advisable to dedicate to the application to
I
get
think
you maybe within a year or 2 years to get to learn a language?
I'm not an expert in these things,
Yeah.
but from my own experience,
Mm-hmm.
um, 15 minutes in a day sounds good. It's not a lot of time to dedicate on one thing.
Okay.
What matters is the consistency, going back to the same thing, repetition.
Mm.
It makes it stick. So it's not really about how long you learn in a day, it's about how well. And how well means how consistent
Mm,
yeah,
and how focused you are during your learning
learning. Yeah,
sessions.
yeah.
Mm,
So some days when I'm busy, I only do 3 lessons in a day.
mm.
So
Awesome. So thank you so much. Guys, you've heard it. I believe Mr. Charles Nwaeke has done justice to this episode of Let's Talk Tech. Today, the tech in focus is um, language learning using Duolingo app. And we've been able to establish to a reasonable extent that using Duolingo can actually teach you a foreign language up to the extent where if you're shipped out, sorry for using that phrase, but if you're shipped out to a country where there is no English, you can actually be able to converse with the locals there, and at least find your way to somewhere safe. So thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you find this video helpful. Share this to your friends, like the video, and of course, drop your comments. Let us know what your own experience has been while learning with Duolingo, if you've ever used it or if you plan to use it, how you intend to use it, and how many years of streak, because we have somebody who he doesn't have days now, he has years of streak. How many years of streak you would like to go for? Thank you so much. Remember to follow on all social media handles at Anatotech, and see you on the next video. Salute. Bye for now. Thank you for coming.
thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Got it.
Yo.